In his first official acts as president, Joe Biden has already signed more than a dozen executive orders on issues ranging from the pandemic to climate change and immigration, many of the orders designed to reverse Trump-era policies. We do have crews in Washington, D.C. tonight covering the very latest, and we want to start with our friend Joe Donlin.
The formalities are over. The Biden administration is in place and the work begins tonight. That work is underway as we speak with the confirmation process for the cabinet and also swearing in appointees. The Bidens walked into the White House for the first time in their new roles tonight. President Biden wasted no time signing more than a dozen executive orders, as promised, taking aim at some of former President Trump's policies. The day started early for the incoming president and vice president at a Unity Church service with Republican and Democratic leadership. And then it was on to the Capitol. The theme today was America United, and that was certainly the focus of the president's speech, saying without unity there is no peace, and it's time to start afresh. Listen to one another, hear one another, see one another. Politics, he said, doesn't have to be a raging fire destroying everything in its path. The president tonight giving a second inaugural address, this one coming at the Lincoln Memorial along with Kamala Harris. Here's part of what they had to say tonight.
To overcome the challenges in front of us requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy, unity. It requires us to come together in common love that defines us as Americans, opportunity, liberty, dignity, and respect, and to unite against common foes, hate, violence, disease, and hopelessness. America's story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us.
This is what President Joe Biden has called upon us to summon now. The courage to see beyond crisis, to do what is hard, to do what is good, to unite, to believe in ourselves, believe in our country, believe in what we can do together.
Let's bring in my colleague now, Washington correspondent Joe Khalil. He has more on the actions the Biden administration took tonight already.
Yeah, it's not unusual for a president to get sworn in and then, get right to work. But to see 17 executive orders and directives, that was something that we don't usually see. And so they went right to work. A lot of the executive orders that they put in place today were actually undoing some of the Trump administration policies that had gotten a lot of media coverage. And so they focused on three specific areas. There was immigration, there was the pandemic, and then there was the environment. So some of these things re-entered the United States into the Paris Climate Accords. There was, on the pandemic side, entering the United States back into the World Health Organization and setting up Dr. Fauci as the United States representative in that. And then on immigration, you had a protection for DACA recipients. Also, they're going to halt the wall being built. Any more progress on that? So tonight, actually, the press secretary, Jen Psaki, held her first briefing with the media, and she took questions. Here's a little bit about what she said in terms of the new agenda moving forward.
When the president asked me to serve in this role, we talked about the importance of bringing truth and transparency back to the briefing room. And he asked me to ensure we are communicating about the policies across the Biden-Harris administration and the work his team is doing every single day on behalf of all American people.
Now, again, some of these were executive orders that Joe Biden has the authority to actually sign, Joe, but some of these things also are things that he would not have direct authority to just sign it and make it so. So he's going to have to work with his cabinet, with his appointees in that.
And he will also have to work with Congress, which is another dynamic at play here.
That's right. And they've actually already sent a bill, a larger comprehensive immigration package onto Congress. And they're also working on, as we've heard, that COVID relief package, that $1.9 trillion package that Biden had introduced before he was sworn in. So those things are going to be really the first tests in the water for how well this administration does as it deals with our members of Congress.
All right, Joe, thanks very much.